Hello, I'm Leah Adam, channeling God. I'm good. Start using talking to you, speaking to you. Still feel weird. What I would like to speak about today, we'll see what will come. How to overcome the third dimension limitations. How to become God on earth. How to be human being walking on water. How to be like Jesus. Why Jesus created big miracles. He did indeed. Everything that's said about him in the Bible, it's true. Why he did that, why he could do it and you not. Sai Baba could manifest some big miracles and healed many people, blessed be, bless his soul, bless his heart, because he and Jesus were in very high dimensions in this universe and above them before they incarnated on earth, where they connected very powerfully to divinity. They even stayed for a while in the nirvana beings, which is very, very high beings of divinity, which we call divine nirvana, where you, in some level, release the personal self and feel in silence what it is to be divine and God. They ascended to very high dimensions, and also other human beings, not so many, from this planet and universe, and felt very strong, powerful unity with the divine. And remember who they are, and so strong, very deep, from the very, very deep level of their soul and heart connection with the divine, that they became one with God, and therefore, even on the third dimension, they didn't lose the divine power. They were human beings. They had many incarnations. They received their power, the divine power, from the source, from God, because they were in very high dimensions, and expand their heart and soul in unity in these high dimensions also above this universe. There were also other people, but they didn't succeed so much on earth and became well known and had some big powers. In ancient time, in the time of the Bible, when Jesus was here, it was more easy to connect to the divine, because the universe was very smaller and the planet Earth was more in the center of the universe, close to the great central sun, and had where the energy is very powerful and more connected to the diamond heart of the divine. Still wasn't so much in the center, but was better placed than now, under less veil of illusion. Jesus didn't separated his soul and being from the divine, even on the third dimension, which amazed us and could manifest big miracles, heal people and create matter or change matter, not so much. little bit. Didn't happen so many times because his life was so short. Sai Baba did it even more, healed many, many people and created matter. Because it was very long time before his incarnation, this incarnation, in very high dimensions of unity with the divine. Therefore, these people who feel that they came from these high dimensions don't want also sex relationship and couple relationship because they feel as God not in need for that. They don't want to feel that they lose their connection to the divine because of relationship and dependency to another person and need for his love in order to have sex and enjoy. So they give up for sex even so they know it's good and joyful for their peace and connection to the divine. It is not true that in order to become connected to God you should give up a love and sex relationship and be in celibacy. It's not the way. There are many ways and different for how long, but it is good to avoid dependency and suffering because of need for another person's love. If you want to not lose your divinity because you remember it very powerfully because you come from very high dimension and already ascended to so high dimension that not so many people succeed to ascend and united with the divine. Usually, if you ascend to so high dimensions above this universe where there is many gates of ascension and unification of the soul and releasing of the karma and the past life memories and it doesn't matter if you remember, it's matter if you still have the negativity and all this memory in your soul record. When you ascend to high dimensions, it's good to release it through allowing yourself to be free and clear, purifying your soul. And you do that through what you create here. You cannot just throw it. But it is important that you will be in a high level, a place of self-love and achieved very good qualities of soul through your lifetime, and therefore you are already free from your past life karma and are ready to ascend to very high dimensions. In these dimensions, you cannot connect if you are not in this kind of place with yourself, and if you have too much negative energy in your energy field and your soul. It is not about judging you. We don't judge you in order to ascend there. It just happened by itself. Depend what is your karma and your place in your evolution. So these masters, big masters who ascended to very high dimensions and could manifest miracles here, not many of them, or became very evolved teachers and very important teachers. Many come to India because they want peace from the civilization and the needs to work so hard for money. And they call themselves sometimes avatars. Not all of them who call themselves avatars are really indeed avatars who end their karma. Usually people don't want to come here for volunteer. Sometimes they do, but karma could be endless. And if they don't have much karma, They can call themselves avatars if they ascend to very high dimensions and came back here to help, but sometimes they don't know that they still had some karma and their soul came here not by choice just because they want to volunteer, but because they needed it in order to clear karma or to grow and become more of a divine through being human being and help others. And these people who are very evolved souls and stayed in very high dimensions of unity above this universe where you are not anymore physical and you really lost your almost your human self and personality and felt and experienced the divinity and the oneness and the expansion of the soul with all that is. If you ascend so high, these people who ascend so high, usually they don't want to come back here and we don't force them to do that. They come if it's needed, and if their soul choose that. They are never just volunteers because there is so much to grow and learn here. And unfortunately, it's very hard to overcome the third dimension limitations and programs and to create matters here or manifest body here. This happened also that some people manifested body here, ascended masters, not so much. It's happened a few times to this many years of this planet, and they came for a short time and then disappeared the body. They're afraid to do that. They will be stuck here forever, but it did happen a few times, and now it's more difficult because all the universe is second to more low frequency. How you will be able to overcome the third dimension limitation, physical, and make it here as in heaven, create more miracles through the mind power, heal yourself, heal others. You need to become very united with the God divine consciousness as these masters who ascended to very high dimensions, where they really lived it and almost lost their personality and personal self and felt that they are divine God. You need to be in that frequency also when you are here. And as a child, not to close the memory and the second your being to the third dimensional frequency and close your DNA. It's possible if you make the choice because you came from very high dimensions. And if you were not experience these high dimensions, or maybe for a very short time, it will be more difficult for you, but it is possible if you ask for it with all your heart and soul a lot, many times. You have to ask and pray many times because the frequency of the third dimension is very low. And so in order to go through it and break it, the limitation, the DNA programs in the human being, and also the limitations of the third dimension, in order to break all these rules, you need to uh, pray a lot with very deeply from your heart and depths level of your heart and soul, and call all the time for the divine, for God, to enter your being, and sit in meditation for many, many hours, not just in silence because it's very hard, but in a pray, in a state of being where you don't think too much, but you ask and you pray for the God, for the divine, for the energy of the high dimensions where God exists in very high frequency to come through you and help you connect with it as one. Some people pray for the Creator or God to create for them miracles, which is good, but also to a master would like to not just do it, but become it, become the divine by merging his energy and frequency with the high frequency and level of love and light of the divine in the high dimensions. And in order to do that, you have to want it very deeply. It's much easier in the high dimensions. It just happen very easily. You don't have to do nothing. You just ascend as a soul, as light to these dimensions, and your heart and light body and soul and spirit expand and united if you can. Not everyone can do it. We sometimes make experiences and experiments with all kinds of souls, and not just very, very old souls or others who ascended very high to ascend to high dimensions like that, but they not always succeed to merge with the energy of the divine, and they fell to low dimensions and to incarnate fast again in order to be ready for that. Usually they ascend to incarnate fast and not to stay in the 12th dimension of the universe, because after they feel the joy and love and bliss and greatness of the soul that you feel when you connect to the divine in very high dimensions above this universe, you don't want to be anymore just human being, and you want to be more in a place where you can merge with these dimensions. And if you are not ready, you have to connect again in order to grow yourself, so you can, after the next lifetime, ascend to very high dimensions and maybe freedom from incarnations. So people who ascended very high and they were not ready to stay there for long had to incarnate again fast. And if they stay for long as ascended masters, many of them stay in the 7 or 10 dimension to help people and to do cosmic work for the planet or planetary works. It is wonderful, but they are not growing as in the third dimension in order to be ready to ascend to very high dimensions of freedom and unity with God. Some of them experience this dimension for a short time and went back to the astral dimension of this universe in order to help the universe. Jesus ascended to very high dimensions about this universe after the lifetime as Jesus on earth, and in time he helped the 8th dimension for a long time and the 10th dimension, and many people he taught many people and did a lot of wonderful work, and then ascended to high dimension above this universe where he could manifest everything he wants by his mind, and not experience anymore separated human being as in a physical body that is lightening than the third dimension, but he was already not in a physical body and didn't need any more relationship and sex and life as human being in the 12 dimensions, which people live there as human beings live here, but in more high level of frequency and opening of the chakras and the psychic abilities to manifest things through thought, to transfer the being from dimension to dimension and feeling things in much more powerful frequency than in the earth. Above this universe, you are not anymore in a human body, and therefore the frequency of your energy field and your soul is so high that you are experiencing strong oneness with the divine, and you can feel everything as one with all there is, and visualize what you desire and manifest it, and become very, very strong and powerful. And if you return to earth after experiences like that, you might become so powerful that you overcome the third dimension limitation, as Jesus and Sai Baba did, and create matter and heal people with the power of the mind. In this new age, people want to heal people and have power to heal everyone and themselves. And it's wonderful, but it's still very limited and not so possible in a very real way, like healing very bad diseases like cancer or very bad illness. Not many can do that. And they do some energy work and healing, but really healing for disease and heal the sick or help people to live and not die, it is still very unusual to be able to do. Not so many people can change matter or disappeared cancer and all kinds of diseases. So those people who made a choice to be a healer and want to help people have to pray a lot for the power of the divine to be a channel for this energy, and not just through all kinds of techniques to think that they will heal people. All these techniques are, most of them are not really so powerful to make miracles. In order to heal people and make miracles, you should overcome the third dimension limitation and allow the healing energy from the divine to come through you by opening your crown chakra and the chakras above the crown chakra through your heart and soul, and be really a clear channel for the light. But the light have difficulty to enter this dimension, the third dimension here, and therefore you have to pray so hard to pull the energy here and to be able to connect to it so the energy can heal. If it's so powerful light, it heals all negativity, disease, or anything as it happened in the high dimensions. The people sometimes have problems, and not disease, but they might have pain or all kinds of negativity, and it's disappeared fast by the power of the healing and the powerful light and love energy of the divine, depending what dimensions. We hope that this planet will ascend to a higher frequency of the fifth dimension, as you call it. Sometimes I'm having a hard time saying fifth dimension. I'm good because we have fifth dimension in the astral plane where people ascend. We have above the earth plane the four astral dimension, which is above this earth plane where souls, spirit can be after death and doesn't show his body. They suffered because they are on the earth plane. They didn't go through the light or fell from the light. And we have the fifth dimension, 6, 7, 8 till 12 in this universe, which are more delight and gentle and high frequency of light as you go up here. And already in the fifth dimension, people live in human body, but can create miracles through the mind and matter. Not so much in this age, and as in the high dimensions. Houses are built by the power of thought. Were built long ago in all these dimensions, and cities and everything. So we will not talk today about how the life is in the high dimensions, the 12th dimension of this universe, in another time. I'm good. Hope that you will understand that in this age, It's very important if you want to be a good healer to pray a lot, sit in meditations and silence a lot, and call for the energy of the divine from the healing energy comes through you from your heart and soul, through your crown chakra, and not just to think a lot from the mind and what techniques to do it, because you just block the energy with the mind and all these ways and don't create really healing. Maybe a little bit. And don't be disappointed, because it's still very, very unusual for people to be able to manifest big miracles as Sai Baba did, or Jesus in this age on planet Earth, because of the frequency of the planet and because that most people here were not in so high dimensions as them and still are not connected so much to the divine. It is possible, maybe for you after this lifetime, to ascend to very high dimensions, and if it's your soul purpose and the divine plan for you, that you will connect to the very high dimension and become big divine healers and connected to the one frequency of the high dimensions, and go through many, many gates until you become free from all your soul memories, your past lives, your personal self, your ego, your lower self, your human self, and create really big bridge and good connection with the many higher selves of divinity, and the upper gates above this universe, which are infinite almost. And through them, some people, through the ages, ascended till they became very, very amazing, big and huge spirits, still separated from the one, still in awakening presence and knowing of who they are, a separated being from the one, and not losing their personal self in joy, in amazing joy, bliss, love, and experiencing the greatness and glorious of the divine as human being in connection with the high dimensions, and ascend higher and higher till they become huge spirits, free from human experiences. And this is why and what for you exist. Enjoy the present moment, enjoy what you have, be grounded, be happy for your life. There is lots to enjoy here. But remember that all that you're going through here will bring you to this dream of becoming one with the divine here. But after that, in very, very infinite dimensions of happiness and joy and bliss in this universe and above it, till you don't remember anymore who you are as human being and reborn to become good. Thank you. I am good. I love you. Thank you.